one day to visit Epic Universe. Is it possible to see and do it all? Epic Universe is the newest theme park located at Universal Orlando that has 5 new immersive lands to explore. And today I'll be sharing an easy itinerary with tips to help you out on your very first visit. So let's do this. For the sake of this video, I'm going to assume that you're going to be staying at a Universal Orlando hotel during your visit because there's a huge perk included in this stay that's going to help you out on this strategy. As a Universal Orlando resort guest, you get 1 hour early entry into Epic Universe before standard park guests. So this is a great time to go and check off rides and really maximize time earlier in your day to set you up for success later on. From the hotels, if you're wondering how to get to Epic Universe, they do have theme park buses that will transport you from the hotels to the bus station at Epic Universe. And that's going to get us to starting our day. So let's get it started. Depending on where you're leaving from and where your hotel is located, it's about a 15-minute drive to get to Epic Universe from the hotels that are located near the existing Universal Orlando parks. But if you're staying near Epic Universe at Terra Luna, Stella Nova, and Helios Grand, in a lot of cases you can actually walk to the park, so it's a lot quicker. I often get asked what time should you start to line up at the park gates, and what worked really well for me when I was going to Epic Universe was actually taking the very first bus from the hotel to get there. Usually the theme park buses start about an hour before the park opens for early entry, but I also recommend going down to the lobby and asking the front desk what time the buses start. And if possible, I would time it out that you get up, get down there, and get that first bus. After you get off at the bus station, you'll go and you can stand in line in front of the park gates to get ready to go through security and scan into the park. Now this is a key point too. Do not purchase your tickets when you get to Epic Universe. Make sure you're purchasing them ahead of time. Waiting to buy them at the gate a lot of times is more expensive and takes up time in that early entry window. So to buy your tickets, I recommend going through Undercover Tourist. They have discounted packages and tickets that you can purchase to go to Universal Orlando. And they also have bundle packages that bundle the current Universal Orlando parks like Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios with an Epic Universe ticket, so that way you can visit all of them. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, I'll leave a link in the description below so that way you can set your day up and be ready to scan on in. So you got your ticket, you'll be waiting in line. I waited about 45 minutes outside in the lines before getting through security. And while you're waiting there, I do recommend having a water bottle to stay hydrated and also bring a travel umbrella so that way you can shade yourself from the sun. It's still going to be earlier in the morning, so it won't be super hot like the heat of the day, but a travel umbrella was really nice to just have over top of me, so I wasn't already getting super sun exposure already early in my day. So you've scanned in, you've gone through security, now we're in the park, gonna take advantage of early entry. Here's the deal, not all of the rides and lands are gonna be open during early entry. The rides that are open seems to fluctuate and change, but typically it's rides in Super Nintendo World, Dark Universe, and Celestial Park. Ministry of Magic and Isle of Perk seem to be closed during early entry. From what I've seen, a lot of guests run to Super Nintendo World during early entry since this is one of the most popular lands in the park. And if that's a must-do for you, you can certainly start over there and try to check off Mario Kart earlier in the day. But personally, what I would recommend that's going to be a lot less popular is heading over to Stardust Racers, one of the main coasters in the park. This is going to be an easy ride that you can get on and get off of. There's 2 separate tracks that you can ride on. You can do yellow and green, so you can try to do both of those during early entry. Then if you have time after, or if you aren't a coaster lover, I recommend going over to Dark Universe. There's 2 rides there that you can check out. You can do Monsters Unchained and then Curse of the Werewolf whenever it'll be a lot less busy. And it's also fun walking around Darkmoor when there's not a lot of crowds, so you can really take in the atmosphere. Also, if you're looking for a sweet treat as a little breakfast treat, I recommend going over to DeLacy's Cottage and getting the Warm-Hearted Cinnamon Bites. They're like little munchkin donuts. They're so delicious. And again, a fun little breakfast treat. After that, early entry is going to be ending. And the next land I'd recommend hopping to is Isle of Perk. Again, a lot of people are going to be in Super Nintendo World, and there will be some lines lining up to get to Isle of Perk, but this is a great land to go to next to check off some of the rides that are there. The next ride I'd recommend doing is Hiccup's Wing Gliders. This is also a really popular mini family friendly coaster that's in the park. That's a great ride to check off. And then if you're interested in it, if you want to do the Toothless meet and greet, this is a great time to do it. This is going to be consistently long throughout the day because it's a very popular meet and greet option at Epic Universe. So either before Hiccup's Wing Gliders or after, head over to the Toothless meet and greet because the line can get very long. There are 2 other rides that are here in Isle of Perk, and this is a land I recommend spending a lot of time in during this time. There's not a lot of shade that's there, so this is a good time to go before it's the heat of the day, and also before there's massive crowds later on. There's a couple of fun spots that I recommend eating here. Of course, you can go to Hooligan's Grog and Gruel for the viral mac and cheese cones. I got the PB&J cone, and it was very very good. And then heading over to How to Treat Your Dragon, they have really good cake pops and chocolate covered marshmallows that you can get that you can maybe go back to later on in the day. Now there is a show located in Isle of Berk, but this isn't something that I would recommend doing earlier in the day unless you really want to see it. We're gonna save that till later on and we will rethink that. Since we're close, after you're done at Isle of Berk, hop over to the Ministry of Magic. This is the Harry Potter Wizarding World that's at Epic Universe, and there's a lot of things to check out there. Of course, you're probably gonna wanna ride the Battle at the Ministry. That's one of the most popular rides at Epic Universe, and it is so fun for all of the characters and immersive feel that is there. This ride is also going to be consistently long throughout the day. If for whatever reason there's a lower wait time during this time of day, I'd recommend going and checking it off. But if not, of course you can just walk around and explore the land. There is one breakfast or brunch treat that I want to recommend to you. If you go to the French bakery, get the quiche Lorraine. This was so delicious. I love that it comes with a cup of berries and also your choice of drink. It's a great atmosphere. I loved sitting outside, watching the guests walk past. And then you can also go over to Bar Moonshine and get the Blue Alchemy tea. This was a fun color changing refresher drink that has tons of sparkles after you put this color changing pouch into it. It tasted good and it wasn't super expensive, so that's a win for me. Since it's now around the heat of the day, we're gonna hop over to Dark Universe either again or for the first time to explore what it has. And I like this land too because there's a lot more shade in this land compared to the other ones that are at Epic Universe. Of course, now you can check out Monsters Unchained again or for the first time, and also Curse of the Werewolf. The reason why I like both of these rides is because Monsters Unchained moves very quickly. The line is very good about moving guests through, and both of these rides also have single rider lines, so in case the lines are longer because it's getting to the middle of the day, you can hop in there and get some quick rides. I also should have mentioned the Burning Blade Tavern. This is another good place to go and check out for a bite to eat, but also a fun feature that happens on the windmill. I loved the Hunter's Garlic Steak. This was such a good treat to have at Epic Universe. It tasted delicious. You can share it or have it yourself. And also, pro tip, whenever you're in Darkmoor, if you hear the bell toll on the bell tower, head over to the windmill because that's how you know it's going to burst into flames. By now, it is for sure going to be the heat of the day, hottest time, busiest time in all of the lands. And this is when I'd recommend going and checking out these shows that are in the park. There's two main shows that you can experience. There's the Untrainable Dragon in Isle of Berk, and then there's also Le Cirque Arcanu in the Ministry of Magic. Both are must-sees. I liked both of them, and I like that there's multiple show times that you can check out throughout the day, but going in the middle of the day is when there's not going to be as many guests going to watch, and it's a great time to go sit down and get an AC break since it's going to be so hot. This is also a great thing to do if it's raining outside. Before you visit, download the Universal Orlando app so you can creep on wait times, but also look at what times the shows will be happening. And it's also nice too, there are lines for these shows, but from what we've seen in the past, they usually move pretty quickly since the show buildings itself can hold a lot of guests to watch. Finally, it's time for Super Nintendo World. This is a land that I recommend leaving till about midday because this is one of the busiest, and this is when we liked visiting it. We found that it wasn't as busy, and it's also nice when it's not super sunny because you can take advantage of some of the activities that are inside of the lands besides the rides. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I do recommend getting the power-up band whenever you're visiting Epic Universe, even if it's just for a day. I loved having this wristband. There's a ton of interactive games that you can play inside of the land. This wristband does come with a park map, so you can see all of the interactive spots that are around Super Nintendo World. You can connect this to the Universal Orlando app so you can start collecting coins and achievements, and it's fun to see what you collect throughout the day at Super Nintendo World. You can of course purchase this in the Epic Universe theme park. I've seen them at the Epic Universe hotels, and I've even heard that they're at the Super Nintendo store in Universal City Walk. So make sure you're budgeting time for that. My very first time that I went, I did not save enough time to do this, and that's one thing that I wish I had done my first visit. So this would be a good time when lines might be a little bit longer since it's still midday. You can go and check out some of these Super Nintendo games. There's also rides in Super Nintendo World. You've got Minecart Madness, Mario Kart, and Yoshi's Adventure. Minecart Madness is going to be long the entire day. That's one of the other popular rides at Epic Epic Universe. So if you're encountering a long line and don't want to wait in it, of course you can check out the single rider line that they have to hopefully get in a little bit quicker than the longer standby line. This is a little side caveat that may go along with your park outfit. They have a lot of fun themed headbands at Epic Universe, and the one in particular I want to point out are all of the ones that you can get at Super Nintendo World. I wore these mushroom ears the first time that I went to Epic Universe, and it was so fun to see the characters and the team members react to them. I was at Isle of Perk. Whenever I was doing the Toothless meet and greet, the character attendant was telling me that I had 2 eggs growing on my head and I better watch because they may hatch. So it's kind of fun how they loop even your park outfits into the overall experience at Epic Universe. If you haven't finalized your outfits, I'd recommend saving some Epic Universe headbands to add to it. By now, based on the Epic Universe park map, you will have realized that we're walking through Celestial Park, but we haven't taken time to actually experience it. There is the Constellation Carousel, which is a super fun ride for all ages. And if you're looking for a lunch or dinner option, I would recommend Pizza Moon and Oaken Star Tavern. They're both located in Celestial Park. Pizza Moon was a fun, livelier atmosphere, and the food is great. The pizzas are also a very large size that you can either share them with a friend or you could eat them yourself. And over at Oaken Star Tavern, that felt a lot more laid back and relaxed. So if you're wanting to decompress and get a bite to eat, but also like sit down and relax, that's a good place to go. We loved the Nana Rosa pizza at Pizza Moon, and then over at Oaken Star Tavern, we got the mango bread and the pulled pork sandwich. We also got the brisket sandwich. Both were delicious and was really nice to just sit down and relax. I should mention too, as far as the Universal Orlando app goes, this is what you're going to want to have downloaded ahead of time and also put a credit card in your account, because a lot of the places that you go to eat are actually mobile ordering. There's a little QR code on the table that you can scan. It brings up the menu, you can check out, and your food is actually brought to you. That was super fun and convenient. There are checkout desks that you can go and actually order, but in order to save time, we really recommend having the app downloaded on your phone, get the credit card in there so you can easily check out and order. There are a couple of sit-down restaurants at Epic Universe that we haven't checked out, like the Atlantic and the Blue Dragon. These are going to take up more time during your day, but if they're must-dos for you, go ahead and add them to your list. Just note that they will take up a little bit more time compared to the other quick service sit-down dining options. By this time, hopefully we've checked off all of the rides or all the ones that you've wanted to do, and it's going to be getting into the evening now, and that is where Epic Universe really shines. This park completely transforms in the evening, but personally I don't think all of the lands are created equal whenever it comes to the night. The lands that I personally recommend you should check out whenever it's dark or getting darker is Dark Universe, Celestial Park, and Ministry of Magic. Super Nintendo World and Isle of Perk were fun in the evening, but I didn't think there were as many features that really were accentuated whenever it is the nighttime. Dark Universe, of course, is like an eerie feel. Celestial Park completely lights up and transforms. It's absolutely beautiful. And then Ministry of Magic also transforms, and it feels like you're in the city in the night. It's super cool. So these are 3 places that you'll want to spend the rest of your evening at. Also, you can go and check out Stardust Racers. It will be busier in the evening since people like to ride it at night, but it's so cool to see the park in the evening and also the light of the ride vehicles itself. With this itinerary, it's one of the best ways to see and do all of Epic Universe without completely bouncing back and forth and doing all of the things and exhausting yourself with walking from one side of the park to the other. Of course, this is an example of what you can do, but the one thing that I do recommend when you're visiting, since there's so much to see and do at Epic Universe, is to make a list of the top 3 things that you absolutely want to see and do. If it fits into this itinerary, perfect, go with it. But if there's one thing that you really want to do, go ahead and start with that in your day. And there could be hiccups along the way. There could be rides down. You could experience weather. Whenever it rains, a lot of things shut down during the day at Epic Universe. So absolutely be flexible and come up with alternative game plans whenever you're visiting to make the most of your time. The top thing that I would recommend is to familiarize yourself with everything that there is to see and do at the park, and familiarize yourself with the park map before you're going. You'll want to know what food to get, what rides to do, all the things that there are, and I do have a full Epic Universe playlist that I'll link here that you can check out, as well as things that you won't want to forget whenever it comes to packing for Epic Universe. You can check out those 2 things here. I hope you have a blast during your day at Epic Universe. It's an absolutely amazing theme park. Let me know what you're looking forward to most, and we'll see you in the next video. See you guys!